Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I am going to be counting down my top 10 favorite Second Doctor audio stories. If you somehow don't know what I'm talking about, let me give you a quick explanation. The company Big Finish makes these audio-only Doctor Who adventures, complete with voice acting, sound effects, and soundtracks. Sometimes you get stories set up like a classic Who serial with a full voice cast, and other times you get a more low-key character study voiced only by the main character. Sometimes characters who have never met on screen will run into each other, and other times we get to see a story continue that might not otherwise have been revisited on screen. The Second Doctor, at the time of me recording this video, has appeared in over 70 audio stories at Big Finish, of which I have listened to every one. For the sake of this list, I'm not going to be counting any multi-Doctor stories, and hopefully I will have another list for that in the future. I'm also going to try and keep this list spoiler-free in case any of you are watching this looking for recommendations, which, by the way, if you are watching, thank you very much for doing so. Now, let's get into this list. Number 10. The Rose Mariners. The Rose Mariners is a lost story meant to air during the 6th season of the classic series. In it, Jamie, Zoe, and the Doctor land in a space lab that is entirely deserted except for one man. They soon discover that the rest of the scientists have had their research ended early and been ordered aboard an alien vessel that belongs to a race called the Rose Mariners. The Doctor and his friends make it their mission to discover just what the Rose Mariners want with all the scientists. I really enjoyed this story. It's such a creative and inventive plot, and I thought the Rose Mariners were an interesting alien species that I would like to see more of in the future. The side characters were okay, but what I really enjoyed the most was the plot and the action. This 4-part story was well-paced and well-written, and I think it's the perfect audio to listen to if you want something that feels closer to the show. The soundtrack is minimal and there's partial narration, so if you aren't familiar with Big Finish, it's probably a good one to start out on. Number 9. The Forbidden Time. The Forbidden Time is a story told from a point in Polly Wright's future when she is no longer traveling with the Doctor. It takes place the day after a mysterious telepathic message is sent to the entire human race, warning them of an upcoming time during which they are forbidden to exist. Polly is tasked with giving a speech, explaining that she and the Doctor have already dealt with this, and tells the story to a room full of people. This is such a wonderfully creepy audio. The antagonists have such a cool design, and even through sound alone, their presence truly sent shivers up my spine. The story plays with time and space at the same time and does it well, and the resolution not only makes sense but is, in my opinion, a good moment for the Doctor's character. I don't want to spoil too much about the plot, but this story does such a good job building a setting that I could see in my mind, both with its words and with the sound design. I really felt like I was there with the characters. Number 8. The Edge. During The Edge, Jamie, Zoe, and the Doctor land at a research station and university built on an asteroid. Upon realizing there is something more sinister going on under the surface, Jamie ends up having to use his unique way of thinking to save the day in a place full of people who are labeled as being smarter than him and who look down on him for his supposed lack of intelligence. Part of the reason I like this audio so much is because it hurts my boy Jamie, and I love it when my favorite characters suffer. But really, I actually like it because it tries to explore how Jamie is still smart without being academic, and how he is still a useful member of the TARDIS team. He really is the main character of this audio. The Doctor and Zoe are barely in it at all. Now, I will admit that this audio doesn't do a perfect job of exploring the topic of Jamie's brain, but I'm a sucker for any Jamie-centric stories, so yeah, this makes the list. Number 7. The Outliers. The Outliers sees the Doctor, Ben, Polly, and Jamie land in a deserted, partially flooded underground city on an alien planet. They are quickly found and accused of being the reason that nearby workers are disappearing, but the Doctor quickly turns the tables and begins to lead the investigation into what is actually causing the disappearances. I love The Outliers. It is such a fun story with lots of mystery and intrigue afoot. There's so much fun banter throughout that you can't really help but have a good time, even when the things are going badly for the characters. The supporting cast shines in this one particularly well, too, with both Tipple and Trattora being standout performances. Again, I don't want to spoil too much of the plot, but I think the concept of Orthagna and her species was so incredibly cool, and I would love to know more about them. This audio would actually be higher on this list if it weren't for the fact that I found parts of the ending to be a bit confusing, but that could just be a me problem, so don't let that deter you from listening to this audio because I promise it's worth it. Number 6. Deleted Scenes. Deleted Scenes is a short story that takes place in 1908 Paris, where Jamie falls in love with a filmmaker who in turn makes him the star of her films. The The doctor watches from afar like a scorned ex-lover. I can't talk too much about this audio without spoiling things because it's very short, but trust me when I say that if you ship Jamie and the doctor, this audio is for you. When I said the doctor watches Jamie fall in love from afar like an ex-lover, I'm not exaggerating. The audio literally parallels the doctor with the ex-lover of Jamie's new girlfriend, Celine. I really liked this audio, and although I am a hardcore 2 Jamie shipper, I do think it's enjoyable even if you aren't. It's a very sad and sweet audio that really just makes you want to wrap Jamie up in a hug. It's just him and the doctor in this audio, and I believe it takes place after Victoria leaves and before they meet Zoe. Also, the 4th Doctor and Sarah Jane make an appearance at the end, but it's really just a cameo, so I didn't count this as a multi-doctor story. 5. Death of the Daleks. This story takes place directly after Evil of the Daleks while Victoria is off resting somewhere deep in the TARDIS. Jamie and the Doctor land on a planet that has been ravaged by the Daleks, where there is a small group of human survivors who don't trust them. Apparently, they're being killed off one by one, and they think the Doctor is the one who's doing it. Meanwhile, the Doctor keeps seeing the ghost of a Dalek. I love the way this audio explores the relationship between Jamie and the Doctor. After everything in Evil of the Daleks, Jamie is questioning his trust for the Doctor at a time when suddenly they are thrown into this situation with another Dalek, and Jamie is forced to confront that he might not trust the Doctor anymore, at least not fully, even if he wants to. It's such a good character study for both Jamie and the Doctor, and if you liked Evil of the Daleks as much as me, it is a must-listen. 4. The Black Hole. The Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria land on a research station near a black hole where time keeps freezing and unfreezing. While there, they run into another member of the Doctor's own race, who threatens to turn the Doctor in, but there is a bigger threat on board that requires their energy. Another story that messes with time! I enjoy this audio very much, and a huge part of that reason why is because, sorry, spoiler, the meddling monk is in this. I adore the meddling monk, especially the version of him played by Rufus Hound, as he is an absolute delight to listen to. He's just so funny and evil, I love it. Of course, there are multiple Time Lords in the story, so there's bound to be some messing about with time. I think the time shenanigans in this episode are so creative, and there's a twist that I didn't see coming at all, but was so good it made me want to re-listen to the entire story, just so I could try and find all the foreshadowing. I also liked how Victoria gets a bit more to do in this story than she usually does. 3. The Phantom Piper. Taking place during Season 6B, the Doctor and Jamie arrive on a colony world where everyone had implants in their brain that are supposed to help them remember everything. Due to being a human, Jamie is forcibly given one of these devices. The Doctor quickly realizes that there is something wrong with these chips and takes Jamie into an expert so they can delve into his memories and find the problem. I love Jamie so much, guys. Did you know that? Could you tell, at all from this list? Because if it's not at all obvious already, I fucking love him. This audio is basically just a Jamie character study, and it's designed to grab your heart and squeeze it. I don't have much more to say about it other than please, please listen to it. 2. Shadow of Death. The Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe land on a planet orbiting a pulsar star which exerts an enormous gravitational force strong enough to warp time. There they discover an abandoned ancient city as well as a research station with scientists who are studying the ancient city. There is something killing the researchers one by one, though, a shadow that ages them to death in a mere instant. And now it's after the TARDIS crew as well. Shadow of Death is great. Yet again, we have a super cool and unique idea for an alien species here, and the ending where we find out how much the time the Doctor really spent fixing everything for them is kind of heartbreaking. The whole story is so tense from start to finish. Not as scary as The Forbidden Time, but it's still creepy. The Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe are at peak family vibes, and I also really enjoyed the 11th Doctor cameo. Again, I don't count it as a multi-Doctor story because he's literally only there for 5 seconds, but it was fun to see him. And number 1, the Salacian Gambit. The Doctor, Jamie, Ben, and Polly are at an outer space bank when suddenly they get caught up in a robbery. Can they try to save the day without any weapons, no plans, and while being held hostage? This is my all-time favorite Doctor Who audio, right under Death World, which didn't make this list because it's a multi-Doctor story. This story, though, is so fun. It's just fluff, hijinks, and shenanigans all the way through. Well, aside from a few moments, but hey, at least we get more Jamie Womp. There are some great voice acting moments, the music is silly and really helps enhance some of the more humorous moments, and all of the character writing is brilliant. There's also more to the robbery than initially meets the eye, which means that the plot is interesting too. All in all, it's just a wonderfully paced story that I recommend to everyone and anyone. If you only listen to 1 Second Doctor audio ever in your life, please let it be this one, or Death World. Death World is good too. Anyway, that's all I really have to say for today, so thank you very much for listening all the way through if you did, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!